my name is Valilim and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be showing you how I made this really cool synth plug drop inspired by the likes of Medasin, Mr.Carmack, Laxcity, etc. So I'm just gonna show you guys the project real quick. I used this sound in my recent remix for my friend Alimam. It's called Log 2. I'll leave the link in the description if you guys want to hear that. And I also made this on live stream, so I'll leave the link to that as well if you want to check out the live stream and see how I made this remix. Other than that, this preset will be available for free in the description below, but if you guys want to stick around and see how I made the song and the logic that went behind this song, that would be really cool and I would appreciate it. So without further ado, I'm just gonna play a part of that remix and we're gonna see how we made that song. So yeah, as you heard, this is the sound that I made right here. I'm just gonna solo this out for you guys real quick. Don't worry about these. Don't worry about this processing. I'm just gonna tell you why I did all this and show you how you can use it in your projects. Okay, so now I've pulled up the Serum patch right here, and you can use it in any way you want. I'm using it this way. Obviously, you'll have the Serum patch to play around with, and you can just go wherever you want from there. Okay, so what I did, I started out with a simple analog BD sign. I pulled the wavetable position all the way to the right to give it some harmonics, as you can see, and without anything, it sounds like this. Okay, so obviously this is with the LFO and the filter on. You pull the, if you do not know how to make an LFO in Serum, you just grab this LFO knob and you put it on the level here and you adjust the knob wherever you want to. I pulled it all the way up because I wanted to stand out more as compared to the other synth right here, which I will explain in a bit. So I also routed this LFO to the cutoff knob right here. You can also do that by dragging here. And I chose the 6 dB wavetable because I didn't want it to sound that much cut off in the high end. Obviously, I told you guys before that was my own choice. If I had pulled it all the way to 24, that sounds pretty cool, but I just didn't want that. So you guys can hear the difference in that too. Okay, so I made the LFO shape a little bit like this because I wanted to have a little transient towards the end and, you know, just have it like a kick or something of that sort. I also have the legato up to around 8 to 9 milliseconds to give it a little glide, and the always button is on, so whenever a note is played, it repeats that effect every time. So moving on. Now I know that the sound is in the center. It needs a supporting end, some white noise, some saws maybe. So I pulled down basic shapes wavetable and I tweaked the wavetable position to a square wave and made some synths out of it. So it sounds like this now. So obviously you can hear the difference in that too. It's like it's supporting the stereo end of that, and together it sounds like this. So you know you can hear the difference in that. I also pushed down the level a bit towards. I also pushed down the level a bit because I wanted this to be in the center. I wanted this to be at a higher volume than the other and not overpower it. So this is basically the Serum patch. This is what you need to do to get that sound. But now it's not that bright. It's very muddy, you can say, obviously, and it's in the center of the mix. So what I did right off the bat is I added hyper dimension. So the hyper dimension that I choose, I turned the mix of the hyper all the way down and pulled the mix knob up to halfway at 0 size. So it sounds like this. As you can see, it's more in your face. It's giving it a little bit of a stereo spread. I also had a downsample distortion to give that bit crush feeling. You can barely hear it because I just put it at a very low mix and a very low drive. Low drive obviously not, because this varies with the pitch that you want to choose. I just put it at a lower mix. So I think I put on a phaser, a chorus, a reverb, and an equalizer and a compressor. No, I didn't put a compressor. Okay, yeah. So I'll explain these real quick. So what the phaser is doing here, I've turned the rate all the way down and mixed in the phaser. So what the phaser does, it gives us a little bit of randomness. That's why in the drop towards the third part of the drop, you can hear that they're a little out of sync, like plop plop plop. They're like plop plop plop. That means that they're randomizing over time. They're not the same. They're not static. So that is what the phaser is doing here. And a chorus for a little bit of stereo spread again. It also gives it a little bit of a detuned kind of feel, and that sounds pretty cool. That is obviously something you can play with. And I've mixed in the reverb here. So what this does is it gives it some space. So another thing that you need to, if you guys don't know, obviously you can't play with reverb just like that. You need to have it controlled, because it's gonna mud up your mix a little. So what this envelope knob does is that whenever I put this on, it's gonna trigger the reverb, and whenever the notes are shut down, it's gonna end it. So that way the reverb won't come in the rest of the mix. See, and when you press stop, it just ends. So you just route this envelope to this mix channel right here, and it's gonna mix it in. But I put it around here. I think that sounds pretty cool, because it starts with a little bit of reverb and ends at a higher note. So it's like spreading its wings, you can say, as the sound progresses. And this really cool trick that I learned from Virtual Riot is that you can, if you can see here, this little peak is going accordingly to the LFO right here. So what you do is that you select the bell curve, select the bell curve, and you choose the frequency. You can choose the frequency obviously here, and you route the gain in with the LFO. So whenever the sound is played in whichever rhythm you want, it creates a peak. So this peak you can see right here. You can increase it, you can decrease it. For me, that sounded pretty cool, and that was the sweet spot I wanted to hit. So this is basically the Serum patch. This is it with the effects. Now you can go anywhere from here. What I did, obviously, was that I cut the low end a little bit. I'm just gonna solder these out. Okay. So I had it coming in clean. Then I added a decapitator. So why I did this at a full bright level is that because I needed it to be very EDM-ish. So it sounds like this now. It's like you play this sort of stuff at a festival, but that's my own choice. And I obviously told you guys you can make it more lo-fi-ish, you can like add some rhythm to it. So if you guys were to do that, you can do this pretty cool trick. You can change this to a trippy effect, turn on the trigger, you can do anything you want basically. Also remember, if you guys want to have the LFO played whenever, you can read these instructions right here. I don't need to explain it. Note restarts the LFO, envelope note restarts the LFO, LFO plays once like an envelope unless you control shift it again. So these are basically some tricks of Serum that are very important in my opinion. So I added a decapitator, obviously added some ODT. Sounds pretty cool. I needed a little bit of a transient, so I increased the attack a bit and decreased the knob of the release, so it's more tighter. Added another EQ because the decapitator gives a little bit of a low end that we do not need. Added a reverb for the reverb swells that I've done, that you can hear right here. I think this is a trick that a lot of you guys know already, so I don't really need to explain that. I put in a compressor. This is a really cool compressor. It's a parallel compression. I put it on auto. So what it does is that it's really basic. You don't need to know compression that much. I tweak this knob around a level where you can see that the compressor is working at a -1, -2 dB level, so it's only decreasing -1, -2 dB of the signal. So what this does is that it gently compresses it, and you can increase the makeup gain to wherever you like, and this instantly makes it sound better. So makes it sound really thick and nice. That's what we like. And obviously I added an endless smile and a DGM filter, a filter basically, to just introduce this sound into the drop like this. So basically this is the entire patch that I made. I thought it's really cool, and a lot of my friends told me to break it down. I hope you guys learned a bit from this tutorial, and I hope you guys really download this patch and play with it, have some fun with it. And I'm gonna do more of these sounds. Just leave in the comment down below what kind of sounds you guys want me to make. And as always, thank you very much for sticking around and watching this video. Do leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.